In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made Eduard Bf-109 in 1/48 scale. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or wherever you are in this world, hello. So, as you saw, today we are building Eduard's Bf-109 G-6 in 1/48 scale. So, if you've been following my channel lately, you would have realised that I haven't had a video, like a proper build video, in quite a while, and that's because of exam seasons, and you know, most of my viewers, you've probably been through that, so I haven't had much time, but well, finally I have something for you today. So as you saw, that's how the box looks. Here we have the instructions with Eduard's information about the aircraft itself, then the two paints I'll be using, and then the sprues. There's this rather large clear sprue with a couple options for canopies, the wings sprue, the decal sheet, which is also rather large, and then this rather generic Bf-109 sprue with, well, everything in it. Eduard also obviously give you the masks and the coloured PE, since this is their Profi Pack release. So the first thing that's assembled, like with most aircraft, is the cockpit. So you had to drill out a couple holes. As you can see here, I don't have one of those fancy electric drills, so well, it took a while. Even when it's sped up, it takes some time, but either way, these were drilled out for later parts. Then the rudder pedals and the control stick were added in alongside with this wheel, which is, well, I'm not sure what it's for, but I'm thinking it's probably something to do with raising the gear. But obviously, though, I'm probably wrong, so if you know, tell me in the comments. And also, if you hear any weird sounds in the background, if you look at the news anywhere, then you would probably know that there's right now a storm going through England, so that's that sound. If it can be heard, but you know, if it can't be heard, then just doesn't matter what I'm saying right now. So either way, as you saw, the control stick was added, and then the two fuselage halves were cut off the sprue. These have some really nice detail molded onto them on the inside of the cockpit and the outside, especially on those panel lines, so you know, that's something you would probably expect from Eduard. And you know, obviously cleanup had to be done from the sprue gates with a hobby blade. The inside was painted with, I think, dark grey from Tamiya, but I'm not sure. So that was the base colour laid down on top of a black primer. Here's also the instrument panel made from photo etch. The camera didn't really catch focus on it, but it's just Eduard's regular 2-layered photo etch control panel. So here a bit of PE also went on the side of the cockpit, and also on the bottom there. And again, I have no idea what this is, but well, it just looks good. So according to reference images, this is how everything is looked inside the cockpit, so that's how it's painted up. Again, I also have no idea what that pipe was for, but I'm imagining probably the fuel pipe, for like fuel to get from the fuel tank to the engine. The seat belts are also added in, which is once again photo etch. Really nice from Eduard, as well, it's just kind of odd when you don't get seat belts from a company, as you know, it just looks weird without seat belts for an aircraft seat. Either way, as you saw, a wash was added for the inside. This was Tamiya's dark brown panel liner, and then it was wiped off shortly after. So to continue the assembly, we proceeded with the wings and the fuselage. So the wings had this rather nice gear bay assembly, but well, obviously I didn't know how to put it on because I guess I can't read instructions. But either way, this was glued on and formed a rather nice and detailed gear bit when done. So then the two fuselage halves and the wings were glued together. There was a little bit of sanding required to just negate that seam line, so you know, perhaps I'm no expert at it, so that's why I didn't show it to you. But the fit on it was really nice, as you see on the bottom there with the wings and the fuselage halves. There's technically no seam that shouldn't be there, so that was nice. So then the top of the engine cowling was added. This is also where the machine guns or cannons, are they? Machine guns, I think, go. And well, those were added also. Oh yeah, and also that back of the cockpit, which should have been painted previously, but that was done later. These little bulges were also added, as Mac Models likes to call them, the tits of the 109, and I have no idea what they were there for, but I'm guessing maybe something to do with a radome, like a radar, but then again, I have no idea, so if you know, then please tell me in the comments below. So here we go to the rear stabilizer, and this was all pretty much technically snap fit. You know, Eduard doing a lot to make the fit seem secure, and you know, nothing else was needed, like drilling out holes and putting in wire, as well they just stayed there. The adding of the rear stabilizer onto the top of the two fuselage halves also prevents any fit issues between the two fuselage halves, as well I've had it happen to me previously where the two halves were slightly warped, so it resulted in the rear stabilizer being ever so slightly like not joined together, and filling and sanding in that area can be really awkward, so you know, good job from Eduard. The flaps were then added to the wings, and from what I know, you cannot position these in multiple, like you can't position these in either landed or up or down or whatever, but I guess you could make work somehow and do it. And here was also the spring load, here I also added the spring loaded part for on the front of the wing. Then these, what I think are radiators, or at least some sort of air intakes, were added. These had a bit of detail on the inside in the form of PE, but then again it's almost invisible in the end product. Here the air intake, which, well, that was probably the radiator, was added. The rest of the flaps are also added to finish off this section of the build. And well, you probably heard a second ago the wind, so you know, I hope that's not such a disturbance in this video. So these parts were slightly fiddly and did fall off a couple of times, but I managed to glue them on in the end product. Now the gear were added, and in hindsight I probably should have glued them on later as well. I think I did knock one of them off during the painting process, but Eduard gave you a really good fit for them, so that's nice. So onto the painting we move. It was primed in black to give us a under the black coat for what I would like to call my mottling technique. So to do this, we bring the airbrush decently close to the surface, as you can see, and this was done with my old pretty bad compressor, so you know I think that now I could get probably better results with even a lower pressure of air. But to do this, I bring the airbrush decently close to the surface, and then just around each separate panel just done like mottles and an irregular pattern to, you know, break up what would be a monotonous surface if I'd done it just as one regular coat. This was done with Mr. Colors RLM 76 it is, and it was my first time using it, Mr. Color paint, so well, my thinning of it wasn't the best, and a lot of things could be improved when my next time using them or repainting an RLM 76 color. But then again, I think it turned out pretty good. So well, I guess I'll just let you watch as this plays out, and I'll have a short break for now. So well, after everything was painted in this mottle coat, a much more dilute coat of paint was applied to unify the black base and the mottle coat. I hope you didn't get too bored with that long montage of painting, but you know, I wanted to show you everything that I'd done throughout this whole process, so that's that. Also, if you look just under the front canopy part, you'll notice that I guess I somehow didn't see a seam, or I was just too lazy at the time or whatever to fill it, so well, that looks rather odd. But well, now finishing the project, I don't think I want to go back and fix it, as well I guess it just shows something to be aware of on my next Bf-109 build. Also, if you're wondering, just overall, Eduard's Bf-109 is, well, a rather great kit. You know, the fit is good on it, the detail on it is also really nice, and the schemes they give you, well, obviously this isn't the only boxing, but these schemes in the box are really fascinating, and well, at least there's two of them that I would at least want to do. Also, being a Profi pack, there's that added bonus of the PE and masks, and for £28, you know, in this world today, that's pretty nice. So if you saw the scheme earlier, you would notice there's a bit of yellow on the scheme just right here under the exhausts and on the back. So this was painted with, again, Mr. Hobby RLM 03 or 04 yellow, and now again in hindsight I probably should have put this on a pink base or red base to, you know, make it a lot more vibrant, but then again it looks good, and I guess it just matches the vibrancy of the rest of the plate. So here's the unmasking of it. Just some regular cheap painter's tape was used to mask it, as you know, it wasn't any fancy shapes or anything, so you know, it done its job. As you can see, there's a really nice line between those two panels, and also on the front cowling there was no need for anything to be fixed, so well, that was good. Here most of the decals are applied, but as you can see we have to apply that white Balkan Kreuz onto it, and well, I'm not sure if these are the new Eduard decals with the film on there that you have to like peel off, as I mean most of them did go down normally, so I don't think there was any film that I needed to put away. Obviously, as you can see, this looks, well, really bad, but nothing a cotton bud and some setting solution can't fix. So here's how it looked after it dried. Not too shabby, eh? The rest of the decals were also applied onto the rest of the plane, and I don't think I actually had any issue with anything except from the red walkway decals, as one of them did ever so slightly rip and it had to be fixed, but you know, there's no problem in that. So here's the underside. The gear bays are also painted in a sort of tannish colour, as some reference photos did show that, and since it looked rather contrasting to the RLM 76, why not? So as you can see, there's also a bit of streaking on it now. That's because I applied enamel paint onto it. That sort of acted as a wash. Here is the process, and then I streaked it as the wind or airflow would go on the aircraft, which, well, on the wings would be backwards, and on most of the aircraft it would be backwards. Here it is important to note that don't get too violent, as even with a layer of varnish I think you probably could somehow go through. And here's the wash I will use for the rest of the aircraft. So this was applied heavily around the panel lines, you know, just to ensure that it does seep into those panels and rivets and all the nice detail that Eduard do give you, as you know, you wouldn't want to waste that, would you? So after this was dry, then it was wiped away with a cloth, and then the parts that stayed in areas I don't want to do it, then they were blended in with a brush dampened in white spirit. So here's the end result, and I hope you enjoyed. And I know that some of this video might have seemed a bit sporadic and quick in the areas of editing, but you know, as I said, I haven't had much time lately. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.